Ladies, let's get real. Before a man falls head over heels, before he starts daydreaming about you, in the middle of the day, before he starts planning a future with your name in it, he's going to test you. Oh yeah. He's going to test you hard. Now, I know some of y'all don't like hearing that. You might say, why I gotta be tested? I'm the prize. And you're right. You are the prize. But let me break it down for you. A man, before he lets his guard down, before he hands you his heart, his peace, his trust, he needs to know you're real. Not just pretty, not just fun, not just good on Instagram. He needs to know if you can ride, if you can hold him down, if you're not just in love with the idea of him, but with the truth of him. So how does he test you? Test me when he watches how you react when he says, a man wants to know how you handle disappointment, not just when things are easy, but when they don't go your way. See, anybody can be sweet when you're getting flowers, gifts, vacations. But the moment he tells you, not now, oh, I can't, or he draws a boundary, that's when he sees the real you. Do you pout? Do you lash out? Or do you show grace, patience, understanding? A man doesn't need a woman who flips on him over a delay. He needs a woman who can keep her composure. Trust me, that sticks with him. Test by 2. He watches if you respect his time and purpose. You know what impresses a real man more than a perfect body? A woman who respects his grind. When a man sees that you don't get jealous of the time he puts into his goals, but instead cheer him on, he pays attention. If you encourage him, not nag him. If you help him focus, not distract him, you're not just another girl. You become the woman he can't stop thinking about, the kind he builds with. Test band 3. He observes what you do. You don't get attention. Sometimes a man will intentionally pull back just to see how you act. Not to play games, but to test your stability. Are you secure? Or do you start posting thirst traps and texting other dudes when he ain't blowing up your phone for a few hours? Can you stay solid even when he's not in your face every second? See, loyalty in silence is louder than love in noise. He's watching closely. Test Vine Fool. He looks at how you treat other people. This one's big. A man might treat you like a queen, but if he sees you talking down to the waitress, dragging your friends behind their backs, being rude to his mama, game over. He might not say it, but he's making notes. Because if you're disrespectful to others now, it's only a matter of time before that same energy lands on him. A real man ain't trying to build a life with drama. He's looking for peace. And peace starts with character. Test bind 5. He wants to see if you love yourself first. This is the ultimate test. A man can tell right away if you need him to complete you, or if you're already whole. He wants to fall for a woman who doesn't beg for validation, who doesn't settle for crumbs, who walks like she knows who she is. That's attractive. That's rare. That's unforgettable. He wants to be the cherry on top of your life, not the glue holding you together. Now here's the thing, ladies. When a man finds a woman who passes these tests, he doesn't just love her, he goes crazy for her. He starts canceling plans just to be near her. He starts protecting her energy like it's his own. He brags about her to his boys. He starts thinking long term, building, investing, committing, because he knows this woman isn't just a chapter. She's the story. So don't get frustrated when a man takes his time before opening up. Don't take it personally if he's cautious. Just know this. He's not looking for perfect. He's looking for authentic. Be you. Be consistent. Be a woman he doesn't have to test twice. And when that love hits, oh, it's the kind of love that moves mountains. The kind of love that makes a man better. The kind of love that doesn't fade. When a man is serious about a woman, before he dives deep into love, he wants to understand how she handles disappointment and boundaries. This is not about setting traps or playing mind games. It's about self-protection and wisdom. Men, especially those who've been hurt before or who take relationships seriously, don't just fall blindly. They pay attention. One of the first and most important things they observe is how a woman reacts when things don't go her way. When she hears no, when he can't meet an expectation, or when plans fall through. That moment of tension becomes a mirror, showing him her emotional maturity, patience, and capacity for understanding. A lot of people can be sweet, affectionate, and agreeable when everything's going smoothly, when they're getting what they want, when the relationship feels exciting and perfect. They glow. But the real test of character, the true essence of someone's spirit, shows up in discomfort. How do they act when they feel denied? When a man tells a woman he's tired and can't make it tonight, or when he needs to focus on work instead of texting all day, or when he says something that she doesn't necessarily agree with, her reaction in those moments speaks volumes. If she responds with bitterness, sarcasm, or emotional manipulation, it tells him she may not have the maturity to ride the waves of real life relationships. If she pouts, shuts down, or starts arguments over little inconveniences, he begins to question whether this connection can truly last. On the flip side, when a woman reacts with grace, when she listens, takes a breath, and says, "I understand, take your time," or "let's talk later, I know you're busy," that hits different. It doesn't mean she's suppressing her emotions or pretending to be okay with everything. It means she's choosing to respond rather than react. It means she knows how to handle her own emotions without projecting them on someone else. That kind of emotional intelligence is powerful. It gives a man the confidence to be himself, to be honest, and to trust her with his truth, even when it's not wrapped in perfection. Men know that relationships aren't always going to be romantic dinners and good morning texts. There will be stress. There will be disagreements. There will be moments where his priorities won't align perfectly with hers. What he's trying to find out is, can she handle that without falling apart? Can she be a safe space even when she's disappointed? That's what separates someone he enjoys spending time with from someone he envisions building a life with. There's also something deeply attractive about a woman who doesn't allow her emotions to dictate her entire response. It's not about being emotionless. It's about being composed. It's about knowing that every doesn't mean rejection and every unmet expectation isn't a personal attack. A man who sees a woman give him room to be human, to say no without punishment, starts to relax. He lets his guard down because he sees he's not dealing with someone who needs constant appeasement. He's dealing with a woman who understands that love isn't about getting your way all the time. It's about respect, balance, and trust. That doesn't mean a woman should tolerate disrespect or accept being ignored. That's not the point. A man shouldn't use testing as an excuse to be careless or dismissive. But when genuine life moments arise, when he's tired, stressed, focused, or unavailable, it's her response that determines whether he leans in or pulls away. If she can disagree without disrespect, if she can hear no without creating chaos, if she can handle a boundary without crossing one of her own, he begins to see her differently. He starts thinking, this is someone I can talk to. This is someone who won't turn on me when things get hard. What a man is really testing is her peace. Is she a source of peace or a source of pressure? Can she be soft in moments where many would be sharp? Can she maintain dignity in moments where others would explode? That peace, that emotional strength, it's rare. And when a man finds it, he doesn't just fall in love. He's diverse. He starts protecting her, cherishing her, and respecting her even more, because he knows that this kind of woman is not just good for his heart. She's good for his life. So when a woman finds herself in a situation where a man draws a line or says something she doesn't like, she shouldn't see it as a challenge to her worth. She should see it as an opportunity to show her strength. Because the way she handles that moment might just be the moment that defines everything, not just for him, but for herself. A man who is serious about love and commitment pays close attention to whether a woman respects his time, purpose, and goals. This isn't just about being supportive on the surface or saying the right things when he talks about his dreams. It's about how she fits into his journey without derailing it. Every man who is driven focused, and building something of value, knows that distractions can be costly. He doesn't need someone who constantly questions his priorities or expects to be the center of his world 24/7. He needs a woman who understands that his time is sacred, that his purpose is part of who he is, and that the path he's on is not a game. When a man sees that a woman encourages him to chase his goals without guilt, tripping him for being unavailable at times, he notices that when she celebrates his wins, no matter how small, and reminds him of his potential, when he's doubting himself, that's unforgettable. But when she nags him for spending late nights working or makes him feel like his ambitions are a problem, it raises a red flag. A man who's really building something doesn't want to choose between his purpose and his partner. He wants someone who understands that the two can exist together in harmony. Respecting his time doesn't mean tolerating neglect or accepting excuses. It means understanding that quality time doesn't always come in quantity. It means recognizing that sometimes he'll be tired, sometimes he'll be focused on a deadline, sometimes his mind will be occupied. And that doesn't mean he loves her any less. It means he's trying to make something out of himself, something that will benefit both of them in the long run. A woman who gets that, who gives him space without making him feel guilty for it, instantly separates herself from the rest. And when a woman finds ways to contribute to his purpose, instead of pulling him away from it, she becomes more than just a partner. She becomes a teammate. She becomes the person he looks for when he needs motivation, when he needs clarity, when he needs to feel grounded. That kind of connection doesn't just lead to love, it leads to legacy. A man will fall deeply in love with a woman who respects his grind because he knows she's not just here for the good times. She's here for the journey, for the climb, for the quiet nights full of hard work and the early mornings of sacrifice. Now, beyond his time and goals, a man also wants to know if the woman he's interested in can remain steady even when he's not, constantly giving her attention. This is a powerful test that many don't even realize they're facing. There are moments when he may pull back, not because he's lost interest, but because life gets real. Work gets overwhelming. Stress kicks in. Sometimes he just needs to retreat and recharge. When he does that, he pays close attention to how the woman reacts. If she panics, overthinks, accuses, or retaliates by seeking attention elsewhere, he notices that instability. It signals insecurity, a lack of trust, and an emotional reaction that could create problems down the line. A man wants to know that when he turns his back to face the storm, she's not using that moment to question the entire relationship or create unnecessary drama. He wants to know she can be still, that she can stay grounded, that she doesn't fall apart when the attention isn't flowing constantly. This doesn't mean he expects her to tolerate silence for days or weeks without communication. It means he values a woman who doesn't jump to conclusions, who doesn't assume the worst, who doesn't make it all about her when he's going through something. Emotional maturity is rare, and men treasure it when they see it. A woman who can remain calm, give space, and still show love without pressure is a woman who becomes unforgettable. It tells him she's not just in it for the attention. She's in it for the connection. What makes this test even more important is that it reflects how the relationship will handle future challenges. Life will not always be about candlelight dinners and late night conversations. There will be bills, disappointments, illnesses, career changes, and unexpected curveballs. A man wants to know that the woman by his side won't turn cold or distant just because the energy shifts for a moment. If she can stay warm, patient, and secure, even when he's not at his best, that tells him everything he needs to know. So when a man is observing how a woman responds to his purpose and how she behaves when she isn't the center of attention, he's really asking two big questions. Can I trust her with my future? And can I trust her with my silence? If the answer is yes, then he starts to fall, not just into love, but into a kind of loyalty that runs deep, a love that builds, a love that endures, a love that makes him want to do everything because he knows she won't take it for granted. Sometimes a man will intentionally distance himself, not because he's playing games or trying to confuse a woman, but because he wants to observe how she handles the space between them. This test is subtle but powerful. He wants to see if she remains confident, loyal, and secure even when she's not getting constant attention. This isn't about punishing her with silence, but rather about seeing whether her affection is dependent on him being in her face all the time. A man who is emotionally mature wants to fall for a woman who doesn't need reassurance every hour to feel valued. He wants to be with someone who understands that attention can't always be constant, especially when life, work, stress, or personal responsibilities pull him in different directions. When a woman reacts to distance with grace, patience, and emotional control, she shows him something rare. She shows him she's not addicted to the spotlight, that her loyalty isn't transactional, and that she doesn't immediately assume the worst. When he pulls back for a moment, that reaction builds trust. It tells him she's not going to spiral into insecurity or start questioning his commitment every time he gets quiet. On the other hand, if she immediately assumes he's losing interest, starts texting multiple times with passive, aggressive messages, or seeks validation elsewhere, he sees instability. He sees someone who may be dependent on constant attention to feel love. And that becomes a red flag For a man who wants peace and trust in a relationship, loyalty and silence is one of the deepest expressions of love. When a woman can stand firm and steady without needing to be reassured constantly, it makes a man feel safe to be vulnerable. It tells him that when the going gets tough, she won't bail or act out. That level of emotional maturity draws him in even deeper. It makes him view her as someone who can walk beside him through the highs and lows of life, someone who won't break down every time communication isn't picture perfect. That is the kind of woman who captures not just his heart, but his respect. Another key thing a man evaluates before falling deeply is how a woman treats other people. This one might not seem like a test at first, but it's actually one of the most telling observations he makes. A man might shower a woman with kindness, attention, and respect in the early stages of dating, but he's watching how she treats the waiter, the store clerk, the Uber driver, her own friends, and even strangers. Is she rude when she doesn't have to be polite? Is she dismissive of people she doesn't think can do anything for her? Does she gossip, belittle others, or act like she's above everyone? These are silent cues that speak louder than any words. No man wants to be with someone who has a nasty heart hidden beneath a beautiful exterior. He might enjoy her looks, her charm, or her presence, but if her spirit is toxic, the connection won't last. How she treats others reveals how she will eventually treat him, especially when things go wrong. If she's quick to belittle someone else, it won't be long before that same energy is aimed at him. If she's cold, unkind, or arrogant with people she doesn't value, he knows deep down that kindness is conditional. And conditional kindness isn't love, it's control. A woman who is genuinely kind, respectful, and warm to people regardless of status or usefulness, that's a rare find. A man sees that and realizes she's not just good to him, she's good by nature. That's the kind of energy a man wants around his family, his children, his future. He envisions bringing her home to meet his mother, or building a life with someone who radiates grace and humility. That's not just attractive, it's magnetic. And once he feels that consistent goodness from her spirit, it starts drawing him closer and deeper into real, lasting love. Closely tied to this is how she treats herself. A man pays attention to how a woman speaks about herself, how she carries herself, and what she tolerates. Self-respect is not loud, but it's visible in everything she does. He notices whether she sets boundaries, whether she walks away from disrespect, and whether she uplifts herself in the way she talks and acts. A woman who truly loves herself doesn't beg, chase, or settle. She doesn't have to remind a man of her worth. Her actions declare it without a word. And that confidence, that quiet strength, makes her unforgettable. When a woman has standards, when she values her own time, peace, and energy, it tells a man he has to come correct. He can't play around, can't lie, can't take her for granted, because he knows she won't stick around for nonsense. That makes him respect her more, not less. And when a man respects a woman deeply, that's the beginning of a different kind of love. Not just a romantic high, but a grounded, solid commitment built on admiration. So while a woman may not even realize she's being observed in these moments, how she handles distance, how she treats others, and how she loves herself, a man is watching closely. He's taking mental notes. And when she passes these silent tests, not only does he fall in love, he falls hard. Because he knows he's found something that goes beyond the surface. Something that's not just worth loving, but worth protecting, cherishing, and never letting go. A man who's truly seeking a meaningful connection is not just looking for a woman who looks good beside him. He's searching for one who brings peace into his life. One of the deepest tests he uses to determine whether he should fall fully, emotionally, and wholeheartedly is observing whether the woman truly loves herself. This test isn't loud or obvious. It's often revealed in the way she carries herself, the boundaries she sets, the energy she allows in her space, and the way she responds to disrespect, attention, or silence. A woman who truly loves herself doesn't chase, beg, or compromise her dignity for the sake of keeping someone. She knows her worth, not because someone else tells her, but because she has discovered it within. That self-awareness, that deep, rooted confidence makes a man pause. It grabs his attention in a different way because it doesn't scream for validation. It moves with certainty. He sees how she walks into a room without needing to be the loudest. She doesn't rely on approval, flattery, or 1,000 compliments to feel seen. Her presence speaks before her voice does. And that quiet self-respect, that's magnetic. When a man observes this kind of self-love, it becomes clear that she's not looking for someone to complete her. She's not hoping for a man to fix her or fill a void. She's whole already. That changes the dynamic completely. He's not being asked to prove himself to a woman who doubts her value. He's being invited to share life with someone who already understands hers. That foundation allows for a healthier love, one that isn't rooted in fear or insecurity, but in genuine connection. A woman who loves herself also protects her peace. She doesn't entertain chaos or get pulled into unnecessary drama. If something or someone disturbs her mental and emotional well-being, she distances herself, and not in a loud or confrontational way, but with calm resolve. She simply knows what is and isn't for her. A man sees that and realizes she won't tolerate disrespect, inconsistency, or games. If he's not bringing clarity, honesty, and effort, she won't stick around. This draws out a higher level of accountability from him. He understands that she's not going to accept crumbs and that if he wants to be part of her life, he has to come with his full self. That also means she doesn't compromise her standards just to keep someone. She's not afraid to be alone. She's not driven by desperation. She's driven by alignment, peace, and purpose. A man who is serious about love finds this deeply attractive. He knows that if she chooses him, it's not out of loneliness. It's out of a genuine desire to build something real. That makes her choice more powerful, more meaningful. It tells him she doesn't need me. She wants me. And there's nothing more attractive to a man than being wanted, not out of dependence, but from strength. The way she speaks about herself is another signal. A woman who loves herself doesn't tear herself down. She doesn't make self-deprecating jokes or constantly point out her flaws. Instead, she acknowledges her imperfections, but holds herself with grace. She's gentle with herself, and that energy spills into how she treats others too. A man feels that warmth, that self-compassion, and it makes him want to treat her with the same level of care, because how she treats herself sets the standard. If she respects herself deeply, it becomes clear to him that he must do the same, or he will be removed from her space. She also doesn't feel threatened by other women. A woman grounded in self. Love celebrates other women without feeling like it takes anything away from her. She doesn't compete. She doesn't compare. She uplifts. And that speaks volumes about her security. A man sees that and feels safe knowing that she's not going to constantly question his loyalty out of insecurity or try to control his every move out of fear. She trusts herself enough to trust the connection. That kind of energy brings freedom and peace into a relationship, not control and pressure. In moments of conflict, she remains anchored. She doesn't explode, insult, or attack. Instead, she communicates with clarity, expressing her feelings without tearing the other person down. That's a woman who's done the work. That's someone who values both herself and the relationship. A man who sees that knows she's capable of growth, partnership, and navigating challenges with maturity. So when a man finds a woman who loves herself deeply, consistently, and unapologetically, he sees the potential for something lasting. He doesn't see someone he has to fix, carry, or convince. He sees a woman who meets him on equal ground, not beneath him, not above him, but beside him. And that's where real love begins. He starts to fall, not just for her beauty or kindness, but for her wholeness. He falls for the way she protects her energy, the way she knows who she is, and the way she invites love without needing it to define her. That kind of woman doesn't just attract love. She inspires it. She doesn't chase affection. She commands respect. And when a man recognizes that he doesn't take her lightly, he either steps up and matches her energy, or he steps aside, knowing he can't play with someone who knows exactly what she's worth. That's the moment he falls, not just emotionally, but with the clarity that he's found something rare.